Hi, my name is Elizabeth Wagner. I'm a hand weaver and a textile designer. Welcome to my channel, Illumination. The last time we had a video, I was showing you how to weave the actual scarf that we've been working on setting up on a loom. And I left you to continue weaving until the end of the scarf. And now that I'm to the point where I'm at the end of weaving my scarf, I wanted to show you how the beginning of the warp that we first tied on to the back rod of the loom is now all the way up, and I've used up all the warp, and now you can see where we first tied on back here, and all these knots here that we made are almost up to the shafts on my loom. So this is getting to the very end of the process. You won't be able to weave until these knots are all the way up here, because as they get closer and closer to you where you're weaving, it's going to make the lifting of the shafts more difficult, and therefore the shed, or the hole that's created when you press on one of your treadles, this is going to get smaller and smaller, and eventually it'll get like this. You won't be able to get the shuttle through it at all, because the knots back there are going to prevent any raising of the harnesses. So I'm almost to the end of this one shuttle, and I wanted to show you one more thing before we actually finish the scarf, because I didn't do it when we first started weaving the scarf, but I'm coming to the end of this particular bobbin right here. You can see I just have a little bit of yarn left on it, so I'm going to weave a little bit back and forth so that you can see when I get to the end of the yarn on one of the bobbins how I change to another bobbin, because I didn't show you that in the last video, and I wanted to make sure you understood how it worked. So I'm almost at the end here, and you can see my yarn is now off the bobbin, and I'm going to put it through one more time, and you'll always wind up in a different spot as far as the end of your yarn, but go ahead and put it through the shed, and I usually kind of hold it out the top a little bit so I can grab it. In this case there's a little bit of just a small tail, and I just bead it in carefully, and then I take the next bobbin that I've got filled up, and I take the empty bobbin out, and I put the next bobbin in the shuttle like that, and then opening the same shed that you put the end of the last bobbin in, you overlap that last piece and carefully bead it in so that there's a small overlap section, so you can see from here to here I'm actually overlapped. That way there won't be any knots or anything like that. So it holds everything in once you bead it, and then you just keep weaving carefully, and you won't really even see that spot. Sometimes if you're really worried about how thick it might look, you can unply the yarn a little bit and cut one of the plies off on each side, the ending side and the beginning, the ending piece of yarn and the beginning piece of yarn, so that it adds up to only the regular thickness. So I'm just going to keep going here, and then when I get finished, or when I get to the point where I think I only have a few more, maybe an inch or two left of weaving space before I just totally cannot get my bobbin through the shed anymore, I'll stop and I'll weave in another little header like we did in the beginning, just to keep this yarn from unraveling once I take it off the loom. So the header will kind of hold it in place. And I'm just going to keep doing this. Either I'll run out of yarn, or I'll run out of space to weave. But I've pretty much calculated well with the amount of weft I had, and as far as how long I made my warp. So I'm just going to keep going with this. My loom is really squeaky, and I have to figure out how I can put a little oil in it to keep the pulleys from being so squeaky. I'm getting up to very close to the end, and it looks like I might make it with this yarn. And this is most of it. Okay, so I'm done weaving, and I'm going to open up one more shed and just, you can pull this in here just to hold it. Weave it in a little bit. And then I've got a piece of scrap yarn, and I'm just going to put that in just to, like I said, just to hold the real weft in place. And just leave the sides hanging out. You don't have to draw them in, because this is actually going to be cut off of the scarf when we finish it, when we get it off the loom. This is just to keep everything from unraveling. So I'm going to keep doing that. And that should be enough, about 4 or 5 passes, just to keep it from unraveling. Okay, now this little piece right here you can actually just hold up and carefully, without cutting anything else, just snip that off. And then what we're going to do is come around to, I'm going to let the break off of the loom so everything goes slack. And then I'm going to come around to the back of the loom, and I'm just going to reach back here, and I'm going to just carefully snip my warp, cut it right in front of the knots, just like that. That is probably one of the most rewarding parts of weaving. And then I'll just pull everything carefully out of the hetals and out of the reed, and down here, what you can do with this is just tie it in a knot for now, so it doesn't get tangled or pulled or anything unravel. So then I come down here and lift my levers, and so that the break is not being engaged. And then I'm going to just pull the whole thing right off. If you want to keep a fringe, you're going to have to untie all these, and then you'll be done. If you're going to hem it, you can actually cut it off here, because that'll give you enough to hem. But I'm going to make a fringe. So I'm going to pull these knots out all the way down, and then on my next video I'll show you how I tie my fringes up, and then how we wet finish the piece, and then we'll be just about done. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.